Welcome back to Alabama Tractor Pickers, and in the last episode you can recall that I bought this international truck in Chilton County, Alabama on an old farm and hauled it back to my property nearby where it sat for 3 years before I was able to start working on it. I hauled it back home and started working on it immediately, thrashing on this truck at night as my time allowed over the course of a month and a half.
Yes, turn. Yes.
Found out the engine wasn't stuck.
Yes.
And I worked on this truck hard at night. Found we had other issues such as a distributor bushing that's gone bad and a tight distributor that did not want to fit. So come along and watch this episode as we figure out the problems that it has and find more. And like and subscribe to the channel.
I don't know.
Thanks for watching.
What in the world is holding this thing? Unless this oil pump drive, some reason, is really tight. All right, moment of truth, round 2. I've sanded it down some more. I hope it's rounded a little bit, but I hope it's not too much. I guess worst case, we can always get another shaft. But who's to say that one wouldn't be tight, because we don't know what's causing it. It's in. A little bit of resistance right there at the end. And I think we'll have it. Hello. Hey.
What are you doing?
I'm down here at Alex's working on my truck.
Oh.
What are y'all doing? Oh, okay. Yeah, I came down here to do that and bring that trailer home.
Okay. Are you coming home soon?
I'll be home in a little bit, probably next 20 minutes. Well, I did, but I was doing this too to come get that trailer.
Is the bed made?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Are you finished drying the sheets and everything?
They're drying now.
Is the carport cleaned off?
Yeah, I organized it.
Ashley, let him work.
Hey, are you helping me?
No, I was down there cleaning. I just come by here to look at his old truck.
Get that put in and I should be able to start it up.
You think it'll crank?
Yeah. I have no doubt it will.
Oh, you do?
It's actually in really good shape for its
How old is it?
74. Yep. It's got factory disc brakes on the front. I'm hoping it fits without any binding. This should do it. Let's see what happens. That's it. It's in. Now we've got to go and put our gear back on. So let's get that on, get this thing all timed up, bolted down. May take a couple of tries to get the timing just right, but at least we're going in the right direction now. Look at there. Look at there. Look at there. That may be it. I think I got it on the first try. Look at that. Perfect. All right, so our firing order is actually cast into the intake. Most of these, it's right here. The firing order is going to be 18436572. Number 1 cylinder is your driver's side front. Number 8 cylinder is passenger side rear. Okay, evens on the passenger side, odds are on the driver's side. I don't have the keys for this truck, so my options was to hire a locksmith to come and rekey it. When they charge you a fee to come out plus rekeying it, it's about 150 bucks. I could take it to them and get it done for about $70, but then I'd have to load the truck back up, haul it over there and all that. And the other option is to replace the lock cylinder. Found a lock cylinder from IH Parts America. I'm gonna replace this lock cylinder because it comes with 2 keys, and I think it was a total of 40 bucks. So we're gonna attempt to remove this thing. Never done it. Let's see what happens. There's my steering wheel cap. It was already off in the seat. I'll remove these 3 Phillips screws for the horn button assembly, I guess is what that is. Then we've got this nut here. It looks like a 7/8. It's actually already loose. Steering wheel seems to be loose and will come off. Steering wheel has seen its better days. Looks like somebody painted it to me. I don't know if that's original from the factory or not, but anyway. I got the steering wheel off, the horn button, the switch, all that stuff off. And then I came to this. This is the lock plate, okay? Did a little research, and this is actually the locking steering wheel. Well, this is it right here, this dowel. Wherever the wheel is in reference to these notches, that's where it locks. They are not hard to pull, but you gotta have special tools. And I have a puller set here, steering wheel puller set. It comes with tools to pull the lock plate. I got it at O'Reilly's. There's your part number, 67011. You can actually rent it from them for free as long as you take it back. And out of that kit, this is all we're going to use. Your 9/16 female adapter with this U-bar and the nut. So what you do, you just take your steering wheel nut off. I kept it there so we didn't lose it. Take that off. I'm gonna leave that little spring in there for now so I don't lose it. You thread this on. I'm trying to do this one-handed here. And this is the only size the kit came with, was a 9/16 18 female. The other size is metric, and I'll just go ahead and tell you, this International doesn't have a metric fastener on it unless somebody put it on there. All right, that's threaded on. What you want to do is just kind of center that somewhere where it's good and flat. Tighten your nut down. Oh, come on. Now, I would also like to mention that I did put a couple of reference marks on this lock plate in relation to that column housing, just in case it mattered when we pull it off, because I want everything to go back in like it came out. So now that I've got that tightened down, I'm just going to take a crescent wrench and we're going to tighten this down. And then you can see when that tightens, that steering wheel shaft should expose itself, and then there is a locking ring right there. And it doesn't take much at all to get that exposed, but you'd never push that down by hand and do this. So it's imperative you use that. I got a couple of picks here. I got a small screwdriver. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna try to pry this locking ring up. It can be a pain trying to get it from what I've seen. All right, so it took a minute, but you can see I got the locking ring out.
and I rode it all the way up and put it on this female part of the puller, and I'm just going to be real careful with that and leave it on there. It took a minute to get it on there, but we're going to leave it on there. That way when we're ready to put it back on, we can just slide it back on. So now our locking plate's ready to come off. Take note of where everything is. Okay, and you notice that locking plate has teeth in there to where that goes a certain way. Okay, set that there. Now we've got to remove our turn signal switch arm with this screw here. I would say your hazard light switch, but it looks like we don't have one. And then we will need to remove the turn signal mechanism itself. Once that's out, then we'll be able to get to this locking tab and then should be able to pull that right out. So we'll take a picture of all of this real quick. We'll get back to work. Okay, so after a little more research, I found out that this right there, this little tab and access hole is not where we release this lock cylinder. It's actually going to be, it's not this, it's not this one. It's actually going to be down in this recess here. You can tell where I'm at. Down in this recess, probably about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch down in there and along this right here. I'll show you. Right back in there. So what we got to do is we've got to take this screwdriver and gently tap right here to knock that piece of pot metal out so we can get access to that locking tab. All right, so I'm back. I just barely tapped on my screwdriver and you can see that punched right through. It didn't take much. So what I want to do now is I want to bump this lock cylinder all the way in. Make sure that's all the way in and seated. And I'm going to take this same screwdriver, this little bitty flathead, and I'm going to push it back down in that opening. Okay, all the way in. And I'm just going to lightly tap it in there. Just lightly tap it in. We're kind of doing this by feel. Can't see what we're doing, but then just kind of wiggle and pull. It's still locked. All right, let's use 2 hands. All right, you can see the lock cylinder is out. What I ended up doing was I got rid of that little screwdriver I had. It was a little too thick. Had a set of feeler gauges in the truck. Even the angled ones worked, but straight one's probably better, but I actually got one of the thicker ones. I put it right inside that slot that we opened up down in there, pushed on it hard, and just pulled it right out. So that's how you take the lock cylinder out. Now we're just going to take our new lock cylinder. Make sure that your retaining clip, which is what we released, that right there, is facing you, and just push it right in. Okay, there's the other one. Have a look inside if you want to see what the board looks like. There. Not really much to it. All right, so I got the new one in. You simply just put it in the bore, make sure everything's lined up.
And of course, before you put your new cylinder in, compare it with the old one, make sure it's going to match. All you do is you just start it in the hole. You just kind of wiggle it and just kind of push it into place. Bump it, seat it, pull on it, whatever you need to do. It's locked in. This one fit nice and tight. There's on, run, start. There's run. It's off. Push down on this little tab here, and that'll put it back into lock, or you can take your key out. Okay, if you want to put it back in accessory, it's got accessory there. Okay, watch the detent pin here that locks your column. Go to on, start, off, back to lock. So that's all there is to it. Let's get this column reassembled, and then we can get our wheel back on and be done with this project. Hey, well, I'm back. We've got the timing set on this old truck. Well, we're almost got it set. We've got just a little bit left to do. The distributor's in. It's on top dead center, number 8 piston on the compression stroke. Hopefully we won't burn the rig down. Okay. That's hooked up. Now, I don't know if we've got fire or not. We worked on the distributor. I'm not gonna hot wire it this time because I used my jumper wire to connect the broken lead. So we're gonna test on the old key, see if our new key switch works. Let's go ahead and put a little bit of fuel in it. I've got some Marvel Mystery Oil mixed with this fuel like I described before. All right, I filled the bowls up with a little gas. I've got my distributor where I think I need it. Got a different battery cube here. I hope this one will hold up. It's a little bit smaller, came out of my tractor, but we'll see. Here we go. There she goes. See, that's the problem with being caught right here.
Oh yeah.
Turn it up again. Turn it up again. Well, you can see the issue we've got now. the old Holly carburetor is leaking fuel just as fast as it can pump into it. Good news is that we got our fuel pump working on the engine. Backfed some fuel into it through this fuel line here when I was putting that new filter on. And backfed that fuel into it and let it sit a couple of days to kind of let that old diaphragm and that fuel pump soak it up and kind of get pliable again. And lo and behold, it started pumping just fine when I pulled fuel out of my gas tank. So we haven't hooked to the truck gas tank just yet, and I don't know if I want to or not. But if we do, I will disconnect it from the carb for sure. Now, do we rebuild this old Holly? Or do we replace it with an Edelbrock 4-barrel electric choke? That's the question. This Holly is a list number 1850-3. It's a 4-barrel Holly with a manual choke. And it's just, you know, I'd probably get a kit for it, 50 bucks or so. And 4-barrel Edelbrock electric choke, you're probably looking at 450 bucks. So, I don't know. That's the question. What do we do? Engine sounded fine and healthy. You know, we've got to get the timing dialed in. I never have even replaced the plugs in it. So, I was very well pleased to see that, and I don't think it's going to smoke at all either. The little bit it ran, it looked like it was fairly clear, which it didn't really run long enough to do much. So anyway, that's the question. So what do we do? I don't know. I may want to throw a kit in this just to kind of get an idea of how to rebuild one of these Hollies. I know there's not too much to it, and maybe we could do that a lot cheaper. Run the truck for a little while, see how the truck's going to act and perform, and see if there's any other major issues. Then throw an Edelbrock on it at a later date. So I don't know. Drop some comments. Tell me what you think. If you see something I'm doing wrong or not doing, well, let me know. Thanks for watching.